You're listening to Tipsy Book Reads. I'm Rebecca.
And I'm Jess.
And we're tipsy.
Too many books on my TBR.
Yeah. This podcast is like a book club for the antisocial. We make a drink inspired by the book we read and talk crap about life and fictional characters. We really hope you listen and drink along.
Side effects of listening to this podcast may include reading vivaciously, extreme bouts of laughter, tipsiness from craft cocktails, talking shit about life and fictional characters. Listen at your own risk.
Just a warning, this podcast is explicit. We are all over 21 and there are spoilers. We warned ya. Hi.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good. Those earrings are so cute.
Thank you. It's because my favorite pearl stud earrings broke.
Aw, boo.
Yeah, so they're going to be fixed at the jewelry store, I think.
Well, those are cute.
Thank you. Thank you. And my hat.
Tipsy Book Reads.
We're up in the merch.
My shirt is Fern and Fable.
And my shirt, we don't understand this yet.
It's cool. It's vibes.
We don't get this
Love
yet,
it.
but it's a good shirt. I didn't think that
doubt-
one through.
I doubt you can read it from there.
Good. It's a really good shirt, and I'll wear it again in Kingdom of Ash. But for now, or what's the one before Empire of Storms? So, for now, we're doing this.
I really don't think you can read it.
Good. I think it's just the top of the sword.
There's a sword.
I bet you know what sword it is. Because we've met it.
Yes, that's true.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What book are we reading?
Oh.
Did you think I was going to say what
I
drink?
did. You threw me
Switched
for
it
a
up.
loop there.
Switched it up.
We are reading Heir.
Yes. I love this book. It's so dramatic.
It is.
It's so dramatic.
It's so good.
Now I have another question for you. What you drinking?
Heir.
That's fair. I like the apples touch.
Yeah.
Like when they're eating apples.
Mm-hmm.
Adorable.
Exactly.
What is it?
And it has brandy in it because they also drink brandy at some point. And maple syrup, not it being right in front of me, lemon juice, orange liqueur, brandy, apple cider. I didn't put the apple cider in it. Hey, it's
It's
still
gonna be
damn
so
good without
strong.
it. You can put apple cider in it if you don't want it to be just liquor.
Cheers, girly. Let me just breathe fire really quick.
Hey, Tyler. Oh, and then you light it on fire because air of fire.
Honestly, that's a good burn. It's okay. We'll be fine. It's really good though. It's like it's reminiscence. I'm already drunk. It reminds me of the drink that we had at the Disney bar.
I was thinking the same thing. The Manhattan. Hey, baby, there's apple cider on the ground right there.
Can you?
I may or may not have forgot to put it in the drink, so it's just straight up liquor.
Thanks.
Yikes. That's so true. Do you want a sip of mine? Let me add the apple cider. Oh god, that was a lot. I added more apple cider than I would have, ideally. Oh well.
Still just as good, but now drinkable. I mean, it was drinkable before, but not if you're gonna drive home. Oh my goodness, we have so much to talk about. Do you have your notes?
Yes, on my phone.
Okay, I didn't see your phone, and I was like, well, before Tyler goes in there. I think I'm gonna go over characters really quick, and then would you kind of talk about where we left off?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we were introduced to a few new characters, so I'm just gonna go over everyone that that was mentioned.
Okay.
And if I missed any, that's on me. Oops. Okay, so obviously Aelin / Selena. We've got, it still makes me nervous to say that because I'm like, do they know that yet?
Yeah, right.
We've got Rowan, Maeve, how do they say it?
Narok.
Narok, the Vogue Princess. We have Malachi, Lorcan, Gavriel, Dorian, Sorsha, Kael, Adian, Ren, and his father, because I could not find his name anywhere. I know we have it. I just...
Yep. Murtaugh.
Murtaugh. And then... who's mom?
Lady Marion?
No.
Is Elite's mom.
Oh, Aylin's mom. Okay. Great job, Becca. What's her name? And her dad. I forgot her dad.
Oh my god, what are their names?
Anyways, Queen and King.
They're dead. So
moving on. Marion, Elite.
Yeah.
Manon, or if you are the DJ at the BookCon, Romanticy-Con, the fabled fantasy, Manon. Astrid, and then I just wrote grandmother because that's how she refers to her.
That's true.
Grandmother.
That's true. I saw a TikTok that it was a lady whose name is Manon, and it was saying it's not Manon, it's not Manon, and I can't do it again if I tried, but it's like a French pronunciation. It's like Manon or something like that. But that's like her actual name, and she said, "This is how I say my name."
Oh, okay.
So,
here's the
fun
thing.
fact.
The French culture follows me everywhere. Am I gonna get canceled? Because, like, every once in a while, Rhett and Link's video show that I guess we would call podcast now pops up, and they still do really funny segments. And they did one that was like, identify the fake, and it was I don't know what I just did with my neck. And there was like 4 people, and they showed the first 3, and it was like very serious French accents, like genuinely French. And then it's the 4th one, and she's in like straight up get up gear of a chef, and she goes, "Oh, wait." And she's just the worst French accent ever. And then she goes, I'm not going to try and do the accent, but she's like, I have a ratatouille in my butt. And she turns around, and the freaking Remy the rat is climbing out of her ass.
I'm sorry, what?
And literally everyone just
loses it.
Like, it was the funniest thing. And then in my mind, I was like, those other 3 people, did they know that was going to happen? And do they feel offended? Because it was freaking hilarious. But
it's like the Cars ride, the Tomato ride at Disneyland in California, literally just having random Italian words. It's like fettuccine, cappuccino. Yeah. That's like the equivalent.
Do you remember that movie Kicking and Screaming with Will Ferrell?
No.
Oh my god, I watched that movie so many times. But it's when he had a kid and he started to coach the kids' soccer team, and he got really, really into it, and he ended up like going familiar. And drafting these 2 Italian boys, and the kids were like, "How do you say pizza?" And they were just like, "Pizza," and then it was like, "How do you say spaghetti?" And they're like, "Spaghetti."
It's like the guy on TikTok that has the Italian roommate, and he always like plays the Italian songs or like tries to cook like poor Italian food. That's so funny.
Anyways, we're so off topic. How did we even get there?
Okay, so we watched Elf yesterday, speaking of Will Ferrell, and Tyler goes, how old is Will Smith in this movie?
Oh, no. Well, an unknown age, because Will Smith's not in this. That's so funny.
Anyways.
Did you just play along? And you were like, yeah, Will Smith is...
I said, Tyler, he's not in this movie, so I don't know. I don't have an answer for you.
It's really funny. Okay, yikes. We got to get into this, right? We did characters. We did a drink. So tell me, where do we leave off?
Okay, so much happened in the first half of this book, and Aylin got sent off by Kael last book, right? Mm-hmm. And she's supposed to be killing the royal family of Wendelin,
right?
Wendelin. But it also turns out that Wendelin is where her long lost aunt Maeve is, and Prince Rowan is somebody who is blood sworn to Maeve, and he finds her and is like, come with me. So then they go to this like demi-fae outpost, right? In order to train to see Maeve, and Rowan and Aelin are freaking at each other's throats, basically about to kill each other all the time. Finally, Aelin figures out how to shift into her fae form, and her and Rowan are tracking down these Vogue. They are Vogue, right?
They are Vogue.
But at first they don't realize it. There are these people that are these creatures that are sucking the life out of demi-fae and just leaving husks, basically. So they're playing Inspector Gadget to try to figure out what the hell is going on. And so that's that storyline. On our other storyline, Dorian and Sorsha are falling in love, yeah. And she's helping him figure out his magic and how to not show everyone that he has magic, since magic is banned. And then in Manon's world, she is just training with Abraxos, right? Trying to get him to take flight. And all the witches are kind of at each other's throats. And at this point, that storyline is annoying.
That's fair. We left off with Aelin and Rowan finally coming to a truce, though.
Yes.
And something about a tattoo, right? Like she was fixing his tattoo.
Yeah, which is pretty
cute.
cool.
Okay, so thank you so much for that. What's it called? Wrap up review study guide.
Spark notes.
Spark notes. I loved it. So speaking of Manon, let's just go ahead and get her out of the way.
Yeah.
It's really funny because I remember feeling so frustrated when something huge would happen, and then
it was switched to her freaking POV. I'm like, I don't fucking care.
Moving on.
Yikes.
But by the end, you're like, I don't know. By the end of this book, even now, I know
grown on me for sure.
I'm just like, wow, you're kind of actually really cool.
She's definitely a badass,
I could
but
never be her.
Dang.
The spider silk.
Oh, how cool.
She tricked all the spider people.
I think they're just spiders.
And spider beings.
There you go.
And basically stole a shit ton of spider silk.
Which is worth...
We don't even know. Off the scale.
Yeah.
Because even that little bit when Selena got it, that was like a huge deal.
Yeah.
Anyways, but that was literally like so baffling. I forgot that happened. I legitimately forgot that was a thing.
One of my favorite parts of that scene was when it was raining and she woke up and Abraxos was guarding her with his wing, and she woke up and was dry and was like, buddy. Aww.
Such a little a bond we don't understand yet.
Yeah.
I just think that's but we start to get little bits and pieces of it, like, okay, can they talk to each other?
Right, because the other lead witch said something about talking to hers, and Manon was like, they don't, what do you mean? They don't understand us.
Actually, don't they?
So Manon's not the only one that thinks that. Just saying.
And, okay, I need a breakdown of the 13. Maybe I should work on that, because I'm like, who's who? What are the twins' names again? Are they actually twins? They're not, are they?
The shadows?
Yeah.
I think they are.
But there was like a mention of something where they looked the same, but they weren't. Like, related or something. I don't know. I'll have to go back through and see. Because that was when I went to the midnight release of the third Crescent City book. For some reason, they had trivia on Throne of Glass. And it confused everyone.
That's confusing.
Yeah. We were like, what is this going to be, a crossover? Like,
and what if you didn't read Throne of Glass?
And a lot of people hadn't.
Dang.
So anyways, I got that question wrong.
Hmm.
It was what were the names of the twins? And I had no idea.
I just know them as the shadows.
I think that's what we wrote, and it was wrong.
Dang.
So anyways, there's a lot of interesting things in this storyline, though, that, like, it's almost like Sarah was like, I'm going to scatter a little something here, and I'm going to scatter a little something here. Oh, the meat tastes funny?
Yeah.
Oh, the spider silk? Like, so many things that I'm like, oh, okay. Love that.
Yeah.
Did you understand the games part?
No.
Okay, me either.
Not really. No, not really. It's like capture the flag.
Basically, like they were going after an egg or something.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Like the golden egg in Harry Potter, how they had to like.
Yeah. It was a mix of capture the flag, Percy Jackson meets Harry Potter Quidditch.
Yeah. Or the
Yes.
Sure.
No, I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
Did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire, Harry?
Yeah, the Goblet of Fire challenges. That's what I was thinking.
I had to just say it.
So that was intense. And how about Heartless Witch Manon showing that she might have a heart after all?
She cares deeply. She does. That's why I love her so much.
Yeah. Especially the way she was raised, and then what?
The way she was raised, and then the ending with the Kraken.
Yeah.
It's not the Kraken. What is it? What are they called? What are they called?
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? When the witch that she kills?
Oh,
The
yeah. Oh, the Kraken witch.
Kraken.
I was like picturing a
Kraken.
creature.
No, that's
like
why I said that's not what they're called.
Yeah, but I was like the wyvern.
No, when
wyvern?
she kills,
yes.
and then she's like dropping all this
Yes.
knowledge.
Oh my gosh, and her just being. By the way, you were taught that you don't have a heart. You actually do have a heart. And the real secret is that I don't even.
Dead. It's wild.
But the fact that she killed her as a pity and not just as I'm going to kill this witch, it was seeing her and realizing that it was actually giving her the better way out.
It was.
And that was also a show of heart.
Dang.
Yikes.
Yeah, that whole story.
But they are ruthless.
Okay, so I have everything broken down in my notes by like character storylines.
Oh, I love that.
Okay.
Mine's kind of scattered, but I can jump around with you because that makes a lot more sense.
Okay, so Manon, I'm done with.
Okay, yeah.
You're done
good with Manon.
Okay. Did we set a timer?
Yep.
Perfect. You're just so good.
6.5 minutes left.
Awesome. Okay. Well, then I'm gonna skip over Rowan and Aelin because that's gonna be a lot. Let's skip to Kale and Aiden then. Aiden.
Okay.
Yeah, I owe you.
Okay. Kale and Aiden, what an unlikely friendship.
I've spelled Aiden's name 4 different ways.
I love that.
1, 2.
Aiden.
It's because I'm trying to like do it between customers.
Yeah.
So like I'm not looking when I'm typing. Dang. And then I just give up.
Yeah.
Yeah, what an unlikely besties.
Yeah. And Kale being a straight up traitor to the crown, we love to see it.
Where's my red flag? This is now him.
It's only a little red flag.
It's just a baby red flag. It's a hot pink flag.
Yeah. So, very interesting. Very, very unlikely.
But Aiden calls him out, though. He's like, you won't pick a side. All you care about is your prince. So what are you going to do? And then a little bit later, Dorian's like, oh, so you're with them now? And he's like, no, I'm with you. And even Dorian was like, bro. Right. Bro, you do realize I have magic, right? That puts me on a side.
Yeah. And also Kale just... I don't know, still being in denial about Dorian's magic almost, and just being like a general, I don't want to know anything. Just, I mean, he does want Selena to live. That's, I think, a lot, one of the other things that's kind of prompting his behavior is, I think he is trying to protect Selena.
Yeah, I would agree. So that whole scene when I mentioned Adian, like, yelling at him or whatever, my comment is literally he read him for filth, because just straight up everything from how your decision with Selena, like, to what side you're picking, every problem that everyone has with him, he just, like,
Yeah.
that's my sound tonight, apparently.
Yeah. Fair
Sorry.
enough. But yeah, he was very quick to just
read him.
lay it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was very well done. I do feel like it was something is happening, because how do you not know so much of what's going on? I know he's like the captain of the guard, and his job is the guard that is at the castle, right? But everything affects that. Everything impacts that. So how do you not know about all of these rebellions and blah blah? Like that whole time that it was Kaol, Adian, and Ren and his father when they were talking, and Kaol was flabbergasted the whole time.
Yeah, he's pretty clueless, and I definitely think the king has a hand in keeping him clueless. We've talked before, what a perfect puppet, you know? But still, I mean, even in past books, when he was exploring the streets with Selena, it's like he's never even been outside the castle before.
No.
He's like a little child.
He is.
He's very naive as well. So, I don't know.
I don't know. It was wild though. So crazy things happen. Like, part of the confusion of, okay, how does Kaol not know about this situation, right? Is the when all of the slaves were killed.
Yeah.
And that seems to me like he should have a heads up.
Yeah.
Hey, and by the way, we're about to do this.
Knowing nothing. None of them knew anything going into that meeting.
Adian's response.
Oh my gosh. And Dorian just almost losing it. Understandably. But
I mean, and it's funny because Adian and Kaol are so similar.
Yeah.
Where they're so blindly loyal.
Yeah, I think that's why they've butt heads for so long.
But they're so much alike that they even go to the same place to, like, grieve.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, so Adian is in the tomb grieving over the loss of all of these people, these lives, these children, these women, men, beings. They're just gone. And Kaol walks in on him, and he's just, like, absolutely silent. And then his response that he's talking about, like, how broken he is and all that stuff. And then Kaol just leaves.
Oh my gosh, that was so weird. It's one of okay, I go back and forth because sometimes people say really dumb things in grief, and sometimes I just wish they would say nothing at all. However, he did say nothing at all, and that was also fucking weird.
He just walked in, and it was like, oh, and then walked out.
Yeah, and it was very much I have nothing to say. Goodbye. Very awkward.
Yeah, you can just see, even if you just said something like, this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And then walk away.
Right.
Something. That was so weird and awkward.
Was so weird.
And awkward.
Yeah, I felt very awkward.
And then Dorian finding Sorsha.
And she already knew as well.
She already knew, of course.
And then jumping over to the other storyline, Aylin's response and just the Rowan breaking the news to her, and just she read it all over his face that something was wrong before he even opened his mouth, and just how gentle he was with her in the following days. In the following days as well. And it's just something that the whole world is grieving in their own parts of the world, you know?
And I loved how Sarah tied in all of the stories.
Yeah.
With that. We got almost everyone's responses. Let's take a break really quick, and then we'll kind of we'll go into Dorian and Sorsha's.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. We're back. going into Dorian and Sorcia's story.
Yeah.
So much of it I had second guesses until the end, where I was like, is he really in love with her, or is he just replacing his crew? Because he's not speaking with Chaol.
Yeah.
He obviously is very angry at him for sending whom he thought he loved away. And then all of a sudden, like, someone else is here.
Yeah, especially because he used to have a reputation as a hoe. So it's like, is he reverting back to his old ways? Or does he actually give a fuck?
Yeah, and I do think by the end he does.
I agree, for sure.
But it is very confusing in the beginning.
It is. But he brought attention to his love for Selena.
Backers.
And said how the girl that I thought I loved or whatever. He says something to that effect. And I thought it was interesting. But also I think that it's one of those loves that kind of, I think he'll always care for Selena just differently than he initially thought.
Yeah, I would agree.
But he's ready to make Sorcia his queen.
Dude, they jumped quick.
Yeah.
And even Chaol was like, we need someone like you as a queen.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, her and Dorian are like, we need a healer as a queen.
It's like one of those double takes. Like, what do you mean? That was fast.
It was fast.
I don't know where to go from here. Should we talk about Chaol and Dorian? Because it kind of all gets intertwined with Sorcia.
Sure. Really quickly, after it talked about the death in the camp, was that when it was the orchestra thing?
Oh, yes. Okay.
Do you want to talk about that now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh my gosh, how freaking tragic. And how it just talked about the songs of all the different nations, basically. And they were all in mourning black. And it was just obviously very much a show of grief and a stand against the king. And then they were never seen again.
Do you think I'm allowed to read it?
How long is it?
Just this paragraph.
Yeah.
Sarah J. Maas, this is obviously your work. Okay. That was when they noticed that every musician on the stage was wearing mourning black. That was when they shut up. And when the conductor raised his arms, it was not a symphony that filled the cavernous space. It was a song of Ilwe. The song of Fenharrow and I'm going to mess up Melisande and Terrasen. Each nation that had people in those labor camps. And finally, not for pomp or triumph, but to mourn what they had become, they played the song of
Otterland. I got chills. Oh my gosh, every freaking time. Just now. Ugh.
It makes me want to cry.
Yeah, and it just goes to show how powerful music is, especially in times of political turmoil and all of that, and just art in general, whether it be music or mixed media or books, and how powerful all of those things are.
I love how she includes things like this.
Yeah.
Because that was something that didn't need to be written.
Right.
But it did.
Mm-hmm.
And so many times I feel like little things like that would have been taken out for space.
Yeah.
That could not have been taken out.
No.
I love that
Very
so
impactful.
much. It was so incredibly brave, so strong. And then they were never seen again.
Dang.
I hope to have enough bravery to be like that.
Yeah, because they knew that going in.
Yeah. Oh, it's so rough. I'm glad you brought that up because I have it in bold so that I remember to talk about it. But yeah, so everyone has their own crazy responses to that. And that I feel like, was that what kind of started Chaol and Dorian talking again? I feel like around that time is when they started speaking again. And they were both like, you're right. No, you're right.
Yeah, and also when Chaol went to him and was saying, I need your help with this experiment. We're trying to figure out,
the magic.
Yeah. And Dorian is impressively learning control on his magic.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I think that also helped kind of shift things because that was, I don't know. I think it was big for Kaol to basically ask Dorian to show him his magic and to use it, because prior to, Kaol wanted nothing to do with anything magic.
Yeah.
And he was very much rejecting that and kind of in denial about his two best friends having magic, basically. And so I think that was a big step in his coming to terms with the way things are, and that he needs to understand this is about to be war and you need to pick a side.
Yeah.
This is not just mosey on down the middle. This is serious.
Yeah. I think you're so right. You couldn't have said it any better than that. That is when even Dorian says to Kaol, when they're talking about Selena, and how he literally says you cannot pick and choose what parts of her to love. That, I think, really knocked him into place too, because it's what we've all been saying from the beginning.
Yeah. Absolutely, because he's always started to turn away when, things get rough, or he has feelings that he doesn't want to feel, or whatever the case may be. And that's not what love is. You take it all or you take none.
Yeah.
And that goes for love of friends or anything, and that goes for his love to Dorian as well. And I think that ties in nicely where at the end of this book, where they kind of expressed that love for each other that, maybe they hadn't before. But I think it was Kaol's realization of, okay, I know what side I'm on now, and I love Dorian and I love Selena, regardless of what way that may be. And this is something worth fighting for.
It only took someone's head being chopped off.
Oh my God, how traumatic.
Oh, it's awful.
It's
that
so
entire
graphic.
Scene.
It's so graphic. And there's another scene in this book that someone's head got chopped off, and it was also, she very in depth describes the beheadings.
Like the head falls and then the body falls.
And then it plops,
and then Dorian's reaching for the hand and he's got blood all over him.
And not the frozen blood, and then the blood melting.
God, yeah, there was so much.
Yeah.
That was wild.
That was wild.
It was fantastic to read. I mean, I hate that for Sorsha. That's rough.
Yeah.
What a bad way to go out.
Dang.
But
R.I.P.
It was a great to read.
It was.
Truly though, I loved Sorsha.
Yeah.
And that's so heartbreaking. I loved the reveal that she was a spy. And then that we find out that it was Ren's spy.
Yeah, and he felt so guilty.
He should.
Understandably.
But I think it was really important that she was able to say, I wasn't supposed to love you, but I did.
Yeah.
Like, it was all
it
real.
It wasn't just a ploy. Also, how freaking smart is the king that he didn't know that much going into that meeting and set each of them up the perfect trap to get the flaming gun in each of the situations. He's scary smart. And I think that he tricks people. I think people think he's just, powerful, but, not as conniving as he is. And he had a lot going on to trap him.
I don't like him.
He's a mean man.
He's a meanie. Okay, so now that we talked about that horrible ending.
Yikes.
This is awful. Let's go back to Rowan and Aelin.
Yes.
There's just a lot to talk about. Like you said, we left off with them tattooing each other. Well, she was tattooing him, fixing up some touch-ups from all, her burns, right?
Yeah, not her whole handprint around his wrist. Yikes.
I just realized I didn't even know if I wrote all of that of her, actually almost dying. Isn't that here?
Oh, the burnout?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even write that in. It must have been when I was... Anyways. So I loved the tattooing part, though, because I didn't think we talked about this the last episode, that they were kind of giving each other their stories, and it was a very important part of the trusting and bonding process.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's a lot for Aelin to divulge anything about herself anyways, because she's been through so much trauma that even just her opening up to him is a big freaking deal.
it's huge.
And also I love the symbolism of the tattoos and how it's very much, it seems to be a cultural thing. And I think it's beautiful.
It is. I have a whole thing on it for later when, but I guess I did talk about it. So basically they have this big party.
Revelry.
Yeah, and she was in charge of keeping the fires burning, but she lost herself in the magic and almost burns out. But the thing is, she did use her words. She did say, I'm hungry, I'm tired, I need a break.
Yeah.
And Rowan didn't listen to her. Because that's when I remember from thinking back on this without, like, before I reread it, I remembered her just doing it and, like, getting lost in the music, and that was it.
Yeah.
I forgot that she was like, no, I'm really hungry. Rowan. I mean, he feels bad, obviously.
Yeah.
But that was just an interesting tidbit that I didn't realize or forgot that had happened.
Yeah, but also I think that he knew the capacity of her power and that she wasn't actually anywhere close to the end of it. And he couldn't have known that the Vogue or whatever were going to be there to feed off of her at that point, you know? So, especially because earlier on, she did tend to be a bit whiny. So he was probably just writing it off as that.
The other thing that I really like is how magic is, the lore of magic, the quote unquote science behind it is scattered through the books and not just like, here's a whole history lesson.
Yeah, for sure.
And here's how magic works.
Like, yeah, especially because it's as if we're learning right alongside Aelin, because she didn't really have the formal training in magic growing up. You know, her parents were kind of on different pages as far as training her or helping her suppress her magic or whatever the case may be, that it feels as if we're learning alongside her, which I enjoy.
I like that. Yeah. So the whole craziness happens. She gets taken back to her room. They're icing her down. It's very dramatic. It's very scary. They finally get her to a point where she's lucid, and he walks in and he sees her bent over and he says, "Who did that to you?" And that's where everyone falls in love with Rowan.
100%.
And then he just turns around and leaves.
Yep, flies away.
He reminds me. He reminds me of this video I saw, and it was going viral, and it was like an old Christmas video.
Yeah.
And it was a dad and a mom, and they were matching like pajamas.
Okay.
And she opens her gift, and she just starts bawling. Okay. And she's like, "This is all I've ever wanted." Blah, blah. And then he just has the most dad response of, "Well, I guess I can take all the rest of your gifts back then." And, like, he's doing this whole bit of, like, I'm going to do this. Okay. Well, dang, I didn't have to get you anything other than this. But just, like, acting grumpy, like, totally acting grumpy. And everyone in the comments is like, you can tell how much he loves her by the fact that he's sitting there wearing matching pajamas. Got her the best gift that he could have possibly got for her. And this is such a good example of a man who doesn't know how to properly express how happy he is, but will show in actions.
Right.
And I just picture that as Rowan of just not being able to, like, express himself, but will just, like, literally force you to sleep in the most comfortable bed and be like, stop complaining, as he's like forcing food down your throat to make sure you're okay.
Yeah, just taking care of you.
Anyways,
he's an acts of service boy.
He is.
Not a words of affirmation.
No, not when you call your whoever she is to him a bitch.
Not words of affirmation, my dude.
No.
Yikes.
No. But we got a Rowan POV.
Yeah.
Were you expecting that?
I mean, the first
time.
No, I wasn't the first time for sure.
I was like, yes.
Love
Genius,
it.
love it.
Yeah, stunning. And how he just would claw through the world to get to her at that moment.
Interesting. Do you have anything else to say about that?
That scene in general was so freaking intense, and her
know.
just going into it knowing that she most likely was not going to come out of that, and she was just saying,
Thank
you
God
know what?
my power is this week.
Yeah. Yep.
Damn.
And later when Rowan was like, that's so funny that you think that, because that wasn't even close, sweetheart. She was like, fuck, what do you mean?
How does he know?
What do you mean?
Also, what do we think their inside conversations are? They're in their brain. Like, are they actually having those conversations, or is it by facials? Or, like, how does that work? You know what I'm talking about? All
Oh,
those
yeah.
silent conversations,
Yeah.
but they have, like, full-blown.
But it's... I think they're just assuming it about each other.
But
because
it's very in detail.
It is, however, she always says, it was as if he were saying blah, blah, blah.
I
Like, it's not that
know.
and then it was like, it was as if he did this, or like he said that.
And then I noticed closer to the end, she stopped saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she stopped saying, like, it's as if he says, like, they just go in a conversation in italics.
Yeah.
And then it made me go, when she's like, I opened my mind to Maeve.
Yeah, I was thinking
And I was
that
like,
too.
Girl.
Wait, what does that remind us of? Oh, it's like Fourth Wing.
Yeah.
Fourth Wing is like that, rather.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. And some other books. Yeah. I'm going to wait to say until the after show.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, I just feel like I picked up on that the first time around, and then now this is like the third time around, and
yeah. Okay, so going on to the battle, where
the cadre.
Oh my gosh! And so these Vogue princes.
Can they see it? Do you think you can see? It
We'll
says
have to put a
support
BTS
but
picture.
Support your local cadre.
That's so
It's
cute.
my sticker on my laptop.
I love it. So,
go ahead. Sorry.
The Vogue princes are coming after the Demi-Fae camp, right?
Yes.
And they, Rowan is like, Maeve is not gonna help, and then
if Maeve knows, she'll call him back.
Oh, yeah, yikes. And she was saying, well, ask your cadre. And he's like, they're probably not going to help, but okay, fine, I asked. And then when we get to that time, holy crap, somebody betrayed them. And they are coming in waves into the fortress.
It's awful.
Through the kitchens or whatever. And Selena Aelin is like, all right, this is the only chance that we have. I am going outside of the wards, and I'm going to kick some ass, and I'm probably going to die doing it.
I wonder how she truly felt, that being the first time in 10 years that someone cared about the fact that she is the only heir to the throne.
Mm-hmm.
Probably didn't care at that moment at all.
Probably not. But she was like, I'm actually everyone's only hope. I don't fucking care about the throne. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
But it's just something like no one has ever said to her in 10 years. That's got to be wild.
Yeah, for sure. And then
she's freaking badass.
She's freaking badass.
She's wild.
And once again, what's his face? Rowan is like, I gotta go get my girl. Like, she's gonna burn up. I need to help her. And the cadre is like, bro, she's a goner.
Him back.
She's a goner. Let her go. And he's like, no, sir.
No, sir.
Let me go. And then they are, what's it called? Karanon.
Interesting.
How cool.
That is so cool, so they can share their powers.
Yeah, so it's really interesting cool. Looking back on when Aelin started asking questions about that. And, like, who's Karanon? How does that work? And all that stuff.
She's so smart.
Yeah, and she was saying that she had suspected, but then that was their moment of confirmation.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's so good. And he just, like, and then.
Yeah, and that they trusted each other. He trusted her not to, burn him out.
Mm-hmm. Totally. So what is wild before then is the flashback she has when the Vogue are feasting on her.
Mm-hmm.
So we get more about her history than we have ever.
Yeah.
Before.
That was a big drop.
It was a huge drop. It was very needed, though, I think, in order to understand the intensity of everything.
Yeah.
If that's what I mean. But we see little baby Dorian.
Yes.
And she offers to be his friend.
She does. He's like, I have
a friend, and he's going to be the best soldier in the whole world.
So the king obviously set off her magic in...
Sorry, that was the weirdest fucking voice I've ever made in my life.
I love it.
It's like the little puppets in Shrek. Okay.
That's so funny. So the king set off Aelin's magic. Yeah, scary. I kind of wish that Dorian's magic had flared up.
Me too.
There. I was just waiting for something cold to happen, and it didn't. And I was a little disappointed.
The temperature didn't drop.
No.
She just got
Just
drowned.
straight up, yeah.
That was interesting, though, and seeing it from her little baby perspective, too, of just, like, being so confused. And then...
Oh, poor baby.
Yeah. Wild. We get to see a bunch, though, like, Elide being there, and then leaving, and Lady Marion.
Yeah.
Her mom, and all of that stuff. But yeah, you get to hear a little bit of the little folk, like a bunch of stuff in this. Very interesting.
Yeah, lots of good lore.
Very good, very good. But what's so amazing is at the very end when she sees herself and she refers to her as Aelin, and how Aelin helps her up and says it's time to get up.
Yeah. I think it was that scene that reminded me very much of in Harry Potter when Harry and Voldemort were dueling and all of the dead people kind of came and supported him. It reminded me of that because multiple people were there, right? I think her parents were there and Nehemia was there and everyone was kind of picking her up and being like, we're not done
yet. Well, first they were whipping her.
They were.
At first it was intense.
Yeah, but then it kind of switched gears, and then Sam and Nehemia were like, all right, get up. And then Aelin also was.
And then her little mark shows.
Yep.
The mark showed up again. There lived a princess who loved the kingdom very much. I wrote it wrong. Don't read it. I wrote it. Don't read it.
Okay.
I wrote it incorrectly. Okay. Yes, that whole scene was so wild, and then they got to see how truly powerful she was, and just like bursting with the flames.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we have 2 minutes left. We have so much to talk about still. Okay, I think I can. No, I can't get rid.
Well, there's some leeway.
Okay. So basically, after that, she has to rest up. They kind of help get things ready, but basically, Rowan was like, "It's time to go.
Yeah,
it's time to go. We need to go." And
which of the cadre warned him?
Gabrielle
was saying, and it was a big sacrifice for him to say it because the Blood Oath has so much power over them. But he was saying, "Heads up, we'll be back before you."
And you have to be prepared.
Yeah.
And he was prepared. So they're walking in, and with something that I clocked, she's walking through the city, and she's like, man, these people didn't help us 10 years ago, and they have so many resources. Yeah. And then she starts beating herself up for doing nothing for 10 years. And I'm like, girl, you're a baby. These people are grown-ass people. These are millennial old people.
Yeah.
That you were still growing and surviving. Give yourself a little grace.
That's so
19-year-old girl.
That's so true. So when she comes and chats with Maeve, freaking wild. Aelin figured out a lot, first of all. And we find out a little bit from Maeve about the word keys, about different things that Maeve knows, and also about the word mark being the nameless word mark. And how it was Brennan's line, right, that passed it on. And basically Brennan he was not highborn, and his line was nameless.
He was unclaimed.
Yeah. And how important that is, and that the mark that was shining on her brow was that mark. It's very interesting.
It's very important.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. So then she kind of guesses about this ring and how it could hold some potential power. And she gets Rowan out of his bond. And that he immediately bows down and
was like,
I do it to you now. And she's like, no.
What the fuck?
No, thank you.
No, you're free.
And he wouldn't have it.
Nope.
So now she has one of her court members.
Yes. She pulled out the big guns with Maeve, and she was saying, I will burn your fucking city.
No. Oh my God. Yeah.
And Maeve being like, it's made of stone. And she said, but your people aren't.
Girl.
Not at the end of it, Maeve's dress being covered in soot.
And she was purposely burning Maeve. Like, not burning, but like
making her toasty.
Feel the heat.
Feel the heat.
That whole thing. Oh.
Also, it just shows her power, like her control over her power.
Yeah.
And she said, you wanted a show. You wanted to see what my magic could do. Here we go.
It's so good. She's so
so
cool.
good.
And then they clock out of there. They get out of there real quick.
Yeah.
And the tattoo scene between them, though, is so powerful.
That and her asking him what he prayed to that morning, or what he prayed about that morning, and how one of the things was about, him being bound to her as opposed to Maeve, and it's really sweet.
It is so sweet. We love Rowan now.
Yeah.
But I think it's really powerful how each tattoo and each story she like prayed, and it was a very like spiritual and important thing for her, and I think also her grief journey. That scene was so beautifully written. It makes me think, like, when people talk about how they love words and how they love beautifully written things, that I want to show them like chapters as this or like this, and show them how, like, look how beautiful this is. This isn't just like what people sometimes degrade this down to. It's beautiful. Like, it's for sure. Well written.
It is. Yeah.
But anyways, that's my ending notes for that. I have some after show notes.
Okay. And then she's going back home, right? As
leaving Rowan.
Selena. And she's like, bro, you don't have magic. What are you going to do?
I have another form. And stay in that form?
Yeah, you'll be stuck as a freaking little birdie. Tweet, tweet. No, bitch. You're staying here.
No, bitch. No bird.
Oh, God. So, yeah. If you've read the rest of the series, stick around. If not, see your way out.
Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things.
At Tipsy Book Reads. Bye.
We're back. Thanks for sticking around. If you've read through the entirety of this series, and I'm talking all of it, because if we hear one thing about spoilers, I'm going to block you. Did you see people were defending us in the comments? That was Angel.
Ay, caramba.
I was like, okay, wait, you can't get mad at me on this one. I don't even feel bad. I genuinely
It is what it is.
Okay. And also, I have a What's Keeping Me Up, so if you don't have one, this is your time to think about it. All right, so this is my favorite part of the show, when I write stupid notes underneath a subtitle after show, and I have to guess what I was talking about. Okay, page 469, then they would set about changing the world together. Oh, and they do.
Yeah. Aww.
I know the whole scene of that whole... Okay, wait, 469. Oh, nope. Oh, I think I wrote the wrong page down.
Oh, okay.
Well.
Oh, I love the to whatever end as well. We'll never get old.
Never, to whatever end. It is, I want to be like, highlight for all those who haven't read the rest of the series and be like, pay attention to this. Pay attention to this.
Yeah.
It's so good. Oh, fuck. What was this? Maybe it was 469. Oh, it was when Kaol was talking about how his two friends were so powerful and that they were going to change the world. And I said, you have no idea.
Yes.
And my mind goes directly to when the two of them are the ones that try to shut the gates together.
Yes.
Or the keys together. And that's like such a amazing foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad I remembered.
I'm glad you did too. Wow.
You know what's really interesting?
What?
Maeve has violet eyes. Do you know who else has violet eyes?
Is it the Vogue?
Mm-mm. It's from a different series.
Resand?
Mm-hmm. Listen, I'm all about weird theories right now. Isn't that odd?
That is odd.
Because, like, no one else is described with violet eyes,
yeah, that's
right?
weird.
Am I wrong? It's such a distinct color. I mean, there is someone else, but you haven't met them yet. Anywho.
I refuse to believe Resand is bad.
I don't think he's bad. I don't think that he's bad at all. But I do... Doesn't mean that people in his family aren't bad.
Oh my god, did you see the I think you sent it to me. This thing
Tamlin?
of Tamlin being Nesta's father or something like that.
Yes. I literally was like, what? No thanks.
I reject this theory.
Whoever was explaining it was so for it. Like, I was, no. No. That doesn't even make sense.
Wow.
So many levels. Anywho, so strange. I say that about family members because, like, part of his family has died. Most of his family has allegedly died. And, like, what if they didn't? Anywho, do you have any after show thoughts?
Not really. Just that the development between Rowan and Selena, I feel in this book went 0 to 100, and then in the next few it goes 100 to 1000. Like,
yes, but it's so strange because usually things that are so quick like that, I hate them.
Yeah,
I hate them so bad, but it feels so natural.
It does. I'm also just glad she fucking picked a guy.
Finally. Well, that, and also it's interesting because Sarah is quoted to say that she was supposed to end with Dorian.
Right.
But when she was writing, it felt so natural to end with Rowan. And I agree.
Yeah.
Like, it just makes sense.
It does.
They just develop this huge emotional bond that, I mean, Dorian could never, Kaol could never.
Yeah. That Kaol could
she
never.
She the man.
Yeah.
And they're boys.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
They become men, mostly Dorian.
Yeah.
But
no, I think Kaol gets there too.
At the very end. It takes him a long while.
Like a marriage and a child. So can I go into my what's keeping me up?
Yeah.
Have you seen Victoria Aveyard's Instagram lately?
Oh, now that you're saying that, I know what you're talking about.
Because she does this, and I saw it when she first posted it, because I follow her, and I didn't even bat an eye. I've not read this other series, but I thought in my head, how adorable that this really old series she's promoting like it's just come out. Like, because she goes, well, I have this dystopian fantasy book series about a blah blah, and goes on. And I'm like, I love that she's still pushing it. That's adorable. As if not like we haven't read it.
Right.
And then later on I see this video of this girl being like, I need everyone to start doing their research before they comment, because it's secondhand embarrassment.
Yes.
And it's all of these comments talking about how
Powerless is a ripoff of Red Queen.
Red Queen is a ripoff of Powerless.
Oh, yes.
And so, and there's
Red Queen came out way first.
And Powerless just came out. And it's the same premise, the same story. And it's so freaking embarrassing. And I love that she's just answering back at Red Queen came out in blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Period. It's cracking me up though, Jess.
Yikes.
It's so embarrassing.
It is. And that's just one thing, how stuff on the internet spreads like wildfire, and you cannot trust things on, like, do your own research, because somebody probably said it, and then somebody else, you know what I mean? And it just fed, and nobody even, like, cared to look up publication dates or anything.
Yeah. It's like when everyone said Parks and Rec was a ripoff of The Office, and then you do 2 seconds of research and they're made by the same freaking people.
Yeah.
It's like the same, just Google.
Yeah,
you know, it's
the
amazing.
same level of stupidity.
That's what's kept me up, because I can't stop thinking about it.
That's so fair.
What's kept me home, I've technically finished like 3 books in the last week.
I love
But
that.
it's not like I've read 3 books in the last week. It's 3 books that I've been fighting my way through the trenches to finish.
Bummer.
But I feel good that I finished it.
I love that.
And the one, I'm annoyed at myself that I got annoyed at the book and almost didn't finish it, because the ending was fantastic.
Oh, well, I'm glad you finished it.
Me too. And that's why we don't DNF books, or we don't rate books that we DNF.
Yeah, that's so fair.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. What kept me up is it's almost Christmas.
Isn't that
We got
exciting?
Yeah, it's almost Christmas. And then what kept me home is watching Christmas movies. Honestly, I've just been getting like contact nap baby cuddles while watching Christmas movies, and it's wonderful. I love it.
Christmas.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, speaking of which, Merry Christmas. Because obviously we're not putting out an episode on Christmas week. Like, that's not happening.
No.
I guess we could really quick throw together our reads of the year. What was your favorite?
I have no idea. I haven't even tracked on Goodreads my books this year, really.
I haven't all that much either, because we've read things that were like advanced readers copies and things like aren't necessarily can be marked just yet. However, I had to put a bunch together for the little ornament thing, printing the ornament or the paper with the book covers on it, and then you put it in an ornament. But anyways, but I was looking through my stuff, and genuinely, I don't think I have a top read. And not necessarily in a good way. Although I did read Daughter of the Moon Goddess this year, and that was fantastic.
That's a stunning book.
I really liked One Day. I guess we did read The Deadly Education this year, technically.
Did we really?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Oh, I loved Here One Moment by Leanne Moriarty. That was fantastic. You haven't read that one yet, right? It just came out a few months ago. It was so good. I think maybe that's probably my top. Although The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year.
So cute. We read so many good books
on the podcast.
On the podcast, and also for the book convention.
Right?
When we had so many wonderful authors on our panel.
You're so right.
That they were stunning. How do you pick?
It's a good answer. You don't.
Yeah.
And with that, Merry Bookmas.
Merry Bookmas.
And we wish you a happy holidays and Happy New Year. Yeah. We probably won't release an episode on New Year's week,
not.
right? No. So we'll see you in the new year.
Yeah.
Every white person ever says. And our next book is... What's the next one in the series? Well, that's not even the correct series.
What comes after Heir of Fire?
Read from.
Oh, in the Throne of Glass series.
Yeah, but it doesn't
tell
say.
you what freaking book.
Is it Empire of Storms?
Oh, is it? Which one's the Chaol one?
No. Is that it?
Is it?
Tower of Dawn? I think you're right. Oh no. Oh no. We have to do it. It's. Oh no, thank God.
Oh, we have one more?
It's Queen of Shadows.
Oh, okay. So maybe we have two more.
It's Queen of Shadows. Showels.
And then
Empire of Storms. Tower of Dawn.
Oh, I didn't realize Tower of Dawn was second to last.
No, I remember that
Dang.
because I remember because Empire of Storms leaves off with her being taken away by Maeve, and then we have
and then we have to
his
listen to
perspective.
Chaol's shit.
That's what makes it so bad. That I genuinely like. If that didn't happen, I don't think that would be that bad. Tower of Dawn.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, and then we're done.
Anywho.
So join us for, what did I say? Queen of Shadows. This is a good one. This is where she dyes her hair, right?
I don't remember.
Yeah, because she goes back to
Rifthold
and she dyes her hair red.
Yeah, you're so right.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.